Grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you, 'cause real women don't bitch. No, real women don't. 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 Real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. All right, now, what's going on, beautiful people? Oh, man, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better, does it? You know, people wish that it would, but, you know, as more and more people's eyes are being opened, more frustration is at an ultimate climax. There's a lot going on right now. And honestly, I'm not going to talk about, you know, the uprisings, as I prefer to say, as my dear friend, not riots, because people are rising up against oppression. Yes, some of them are acting out of frustration. Some things are agitated by outsiders to make riots where there are peaceful protests, but there's a bigger game going on. Yeah, and people are like, oh my God, August, you black, and you said that? Yeah, you know, I used to talk about this a lot, and I did this, you know, a couple years back where I talked about, you know, at the end of the day, the real struggle really isn't about black and white. The struggle is really about the have and the have-nots. But I don't even like saying that because then it makes it seem like it's about the rich or the poor. When I say have and have-nots, I'm talking about the elite. You know how they say that the 3% control 97% of the money flow in the United States. And so having conversations, getting out, mixing and mingling, and not staying in my house, no shade, but just real talk, with no, you know, and not living in fear and going out with a mask on, entertaining different people. It's amazing what you learn. And so there was a gentleman that had a job that was barely bringing in $450 a week. But now, because of everything that's going on with the unemployment fund and all of that stuff, he's bringing in $1,000 a week because of that, the unemployment plus that extra $600 cushion and so on and so forth. And yeah, I know a lot of people have not gotten their unemployment yet, but several people have. A lot of people never got a stimulus check, but several people did. A lot of people didn't get the PPE loans from the SBA, but it wasn't all big corporation. Little oaks got money too. And my thing is I'm just curious, people. Are you so busy looking for a woosah that you're playing this financial game? Because it's going to be more than tomfoolery. This is going to be some fuckery that's going to come back and hit us in a much stronger way. You know, there's a scripture in the Bible that says that a house divided against itself cannot stand. And by far, the United States happens to be one of the most divided nations that I've ever seen in my whole fucking entire life. Yeah, I know racism and all of that stuff exists everywhere, but the way that business is handled and human life is treated here,
I'm just in utter awe more than I ever have been from studying history books, living my life and looking at what has happened since I was a youth up until now. I'm just like, damn. And so at the end of the day, we do know that there's a price to pay, right? We do realize that there's something bigger that's going to come down the pipeline while everybody's like, yeah, approve that second stimulus. Give us the money that we need. And some of you may be like, oh, yeah. I'm not foolish. I ain't stupid. I already know. Well, what do you really know? Because at the end of the day, while it might look really, really good that Amazon has, look now, we're paying people $13 an hour, and your local grocer that might have only paid 10 is now paying 13. Right now, you're living off the fat of the land, that illusion that they're at least giving to you. But once it's all over with, you're going to turn around one day, you're going to go in the grocery store, and that loaf of bread that was $3 is going to be $5. Because you do realize by printing all this money and putting it all out there that it's going to cause inflation, or as my coach would say, hyperinflation, and that they're going to get their money back because you're getting taxed for it. You're not being given anything. And so there are some stats out there that say a lot of people aren't spending, they're saving, they're getting that money and they're hoarding it and they're not moving it. But, at the end of the day, some of you do need to move it. You need to reduce as much debt as you possibly can. I don't necessarily always see eye to eye with everybody. You got all of these coaches out here teaching you that you need to be showing and proving that you have a healthy money mindset by going out here and, getting the fucking car of your dreams and living in a house that you want, and looking at people who have more of a minimalist mentality and saying that, they must have a low money mindset. Not understanding that some people actually are just great stewards of their money and have great plans. They have great plans that say, you know what? I'm going to handle my money in this fashion. And when it reaches this mark, this is the way that I'm going to reward myself. This is the thing that I'm going to get for myself. Not just frivolously spending, but being a good steward and saying, this is how I'm going to delegate the money. And it's going to do what I tell it to do. And this is when I will reward myself with whatever it is that I want. And so while you guys are, look, the government is and always has been a debt-driven machine. If there's no debt, then there's no real economy. You guys, they're thinking about it the other way around. And you got to stop doing all of this crazy ass lavish spending, bringing it back to what's going on with my people and all of the stuff, At the end of the day, if you want to change the system, change what you're doing with your money, because the only thing they understand is money. So not only just black people saying, I'm not going to spend here and I'm not going to do this, white people that listen to me, you need to be saying and doing those same things too. And so a lot of you're naive enough to think that these big corporations, because they have these big old fancy buildings and because they employ hundreds or thousands of people, that they're different than you. They're not. That's why so many people did not forgive mortgages, did not, slow down anything as far as, when you have to pay your rent, they like, we want our money. Why? Because they owe somebody too. The bank. You got to pay your rent because the people that own your complex got to pay the bank, and the bank got to pay somebody else. Yeah. Because it's all just a fucking scheme, and it's crazy as hell. And so some of you, you're looking and saying, look at this. Look at how this was right on time and how the government helped me. And that's not everybody's story. Because there are some people that when they got their stimulus money, it's like, well, damn, do I pay my rent or do I get something to eat? And that's a real question. Some people would say that's not a real question. Pay your rent so you have a roof over your head. No, maybe it's to not pay your rent. And maybe it's to be humble and go back and live with your mama. And because your mama ain't hardly got no money either. And you can use the money and go buy some food. And so this whole scheme, that's happening right now, that continues to keep happening on repeat. And I'm reading a book right now that is just like literally blowing my mind. And I'm not referencing it right now. And I have great reasons for not doing that. But I will tell you this. Many of you, you need to really change what you're entertaining. And it's no disrespect and no shade to the queen, but, we have a book club in the Authentic Collective. And I made a suggestion. We hadn't even picked the book yet, but I made a suggestion on a book that we should read. And, since I know her personality, evidently she ain't feeling the book, because she came into the group. Are we reading this book? Because I need to understand it, because I didn't already, read the first part. And why are we reading this again? And the whole tone of it, I ain't mad at her or nothing like that, but I just responded because you need to understand the enemy's fucking playbook. And so a lot of you all don't even realize, there's nothing wrong with reading for entertainment, and there's nothing wrong with reading things that feel good to you and that you like to read. But we are in a real fucking battle. And if you don't start looking at the things where people finally did leak real information, not we leaking it on purpose so you think you know something about the system, but there's a lot of information out there. A lot of the things that you want to know, you could literally find them in your library, because the stuff is hidden in plain sight. And you need to change what you're entertaining, because at the end of the day, what's really sad in this country is that you could be a doctor but never have to major in nutrition. That you could be the head of a bank and never learn anything for real about real budgeting. You use shit called creative fucking financing. Most of the people who perform tasks and jobs in this country are not even really masters of the fundamental things. They are just workhorses that have a particular set of skill sets, and that's all that they do. How you going to be a doctor, but you never really mastered the human body? The only thing you mastered was a list of something that somebody gave you. How you going to be a shrink, but you've never really mastered the psyche of individuals? You just got some hand-given things that you supposed questions. Oh, ask these questions, say these things, give them a pill, and tell them to come back and see you next week. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm sitting here telling you, you better change your priorities. And for those of you that are getting by secretly because of the influx of money that you've gotten because of these quote unquote government bailouts, let me tell you something. Listen to me. It's going to come back and bite us in the ass. And it's going to have to shift. You're going to be looking at your grocery stores. You're going to be looking at your car lenders. You're going to be looking, at your apartment complexes. And you're going to be like, why in the fuck are you charging this much for rent or in interest or for food? But they caught in the same debt web that you are in. And so the only thing that's going to really change this country is to cripple the corruption. Cripple the corruption. If you want to cripple the corruption, curb your spending and stop spending money on shit that you don't need. So I'm going to kind of leave this right here. We dig deeper into these conversations in the Authentic Collective community. If you want to come over there and have a more candid conversation where there's less, for what I would like to call secrecy, where the conversations are a tad bit more protected, then come on over. Understanding it is a melanated community with a melanated vibe and with a melanated purpose. And I'm saying that because really the community was created for Black people. I'm not really too big right now talking no shit about having no allies, because I don't know very many white people at all that really give a fuck about what we got going on, and that really have their eyes as open as they should. But even the most woke ones are asleep. And I know they are, because when I ask them to look at stuff and read it, they lack the sensitivity and spirituality to even hear and see what we as Black people see when it comes to a threat to our race. They only know the obvious, Black Lives Matter, shit like that. So I just wanted to come in here and drop that nugget off on y'all. This money game that's getting played, it's going to come back and bite us in the ass. All right. I'll talk to you all later. Deuces.
Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomendon'tbitchpodcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless, signing out. Deuces!
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you.